WFYI podcasts are brought to you by Visit Bloomington. With over 350 restaurants to choose from, Bloomington, Indiana is truly a food lover's paradise. Go to visitbloomington.com to discover what suits your taste.
This is WFYI News Now. It's February 23rd, and I'm Darian Benson. On today's show, lots of news out of the ongoing legislative session that ends in a few weeks. Changes to a bill that would require schools to release students for religious education. Another that would mandate stronger age verification measures on adult websites. A bill university faculty say would functionally remove tenure. And half of Indiana counties contain ambulance deserts, an area where residents live more than 25 minutes from where an ambulance is stationed.
We lost 200 employees, and they were all technicians, no management, nothing like that, all technicians, and we lost them because of wage wars. Hospitals were able to pay more.
Those stories coming up, but first, Republicans want to make Indiana's law banning sanctuary cities enforceable with a bill headed to the House floor. The measure is a response to an Indiana Supreme Court decision from 2022. Indiana's sanctuary cities law banned local governments from refusing to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. A Gary welcoming ordinance, approved in 2017, limited the city's ability to investigate a person's immigration status and to assist the federal government in enforcing immigration laws. A small group of citizens sued, but the Indiana Supreme Court dismissed the lawsuit, ruling that the citizens couldn't show any injury from the ordinance. Republican Senator Eric Koch's bill seeks to get around that ruling.
It gives the Attorney General standing to bring an enforcement action against a sanctuary city ordinance.
The bill cleared a House committee 7-2, with Republican Representative Ed Clear joining Democratic Representative Maureen Bauer in opposition. And Indiana schools would be required to release students for religious education if requested, regardless of the student's academics. That's under a proposal passed by a Senate committee. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Kirsten Adair reports lawmakers removed exceptions for students who are habitually truant or struggling academically.
Lawmakers in the House added the exceptions to the bill, meant to keep those students from falling further behind by leaving school during instruction time. Lawmakers in the Senate removed the exceptions after hearing testimony about the benefits of religious education. Lisa Tanzel is general counsel at the Indiana School Boards Association. She says the measure hinders local school corporations' decision-making about when and in what circumstances to release students.
We support religious instruction, but requiring school officials to allow the release of students for up to 120 minutes per week takes away from the academic mission of the school corporation.
Tanzel says school corporations are concerned students' academics could suffer if schools are mandated to let kids leave during instruction time. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Kirsten Adair.
Adult websites will need stronger age verification measures under a bill headed to the Indiana House floor. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports the measure easily cleared a House committee Wednesday, despite concerns that include its constitutionality.
The bill would require adult sites to verify their customers' ages with a mobile driver's license or government ID, which Indiana doesn't provide, or through a third-party service that verifies the customer's age. ACLU of Indiana Executive Director Chris Daly worries the bill will be unenforceable because courts will find it unconstitutional.
We would recommend that you all look at boosting filtering software, which is found to be a constitutionally permissible way to do this. And frankly, some experts believe it is more effective.
But Alexander Mingus of the Indiana Catholic Conference says stricter age verification is a better option than filtering.
It takes a little bit of the financial pressure off of parents to buy these filters that are often not free.
Similar bills in other states have had mixed success in the courts. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the Statehouse.
A bill that university faculty say would functionally remove tenure passed the House Committee on Education on a party line vote. WFIU's Ethan Sandwise has more.
Universities and their faculties have testified against the bill for changes it makes to faculty discipline, university leadership, classroom teaching, and tenure. Its author, Senator Spencer Deary of West Lafayette, says his bill will protect tenured professors, although nearly all who spoke last week said it would stifle academic freedom. The committee took no testimony during Wednesday's session and struck down an amendment by Representative Ed Delaney of Indianapolis that would remove the bill's sections on tenure. IU President Pamela Whitten issued a statement criticizing the changes to tenure, but Representative Bob Baining of Indianapolis says he's heard from leaders of other universities.
I have been contacted by a provost of one of our leading institutions. I've been contacted by President of Board of Trustees in one of our leading institutions who have actually supported the language that you're attempting to delete.
Baining did not specify who he had contacted and could not be reached for comment. Ball State and Ivy Tech have criticized other parts of the bill but refrained from commenting on tenure. Purdue has so far refused to comment. I'm Ethan Sandweiss.
And for our final story today, half of Indiana counties contain ambulance deserts, an area where residents live more than 25 minutes from where an ambulance is stationed. Ambulance providers say payment issues are one factor in the lack of access. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Abigail Ruman reports the Senate passed a bill that would establish requirements for how health plans pay out-of-network ambulance providers.
The bill would require health plans to pay out-of-network ambulance providers at a rate set by a county or municipality. If there is no local rate, insurers would pay the lower of two options: the provider's billed charges or 400% of the Medicare base rate. Justin Farrell is the COO of TransCare Ambulance. He says ambulance providers don't always receive payment for their services under the current setup, which can make employee recruitment and retention complicated.
We lost 200 employees, and they were all technicians, no management, nothing like that, all technicians, and we lost them because of wage wars. Hospitals were able to pay more.
Business leaders testified that this bill would harm small businesses by putting the pressure on them to solve an issue that involves the state and federal government's Medicaid reimbursement rates. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Abigail Ruman.
The bill passed the Senate 44-5 and now goes back to the House, which can send it on to the governor or take it to a conference committee for further work. That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by the following people who live in your community: Abriana Herron, Drew Daudelin, Kendall Antron, who composed the music for this podcast, and me, Darian Benson. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back Monday.